Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to Rollin with the Punches. I'm Jessie Punch. I'm so happy you're here. Before I get into this week's interview with Brad Perez, I do have a few very exciting announcements for you, a couple little items to throw on your plate. First and foremost, be sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because in addition to this gorgeous, amazing podcast that you are currently watching, we have some other new videos on the page. A new installment of the Rollin' Through Charlotte Vintage series that we've been working on. The boys and I stopped by the Locker Room, which is a vintage store in the Noda area. They kind of specialize in Charlotte sports and sportswear. It's like a museum for Charlotte sports. The place is incredible. So just don't take my word for it, though. Watch the video yourself and then stop by, spend a little money like we did. But yeah, subscribe to our YouTube page so that you can keep up with us and all the fun things we have coming your way. Speaking of fun things coming your way, I am so excited about this one. Drum roll, please. Thank you. I'm so excited to announce the punchline. Okay, you can hold your applause until the end of the explanation. The punchline is basically a call-in line, except it's a link because it's 2024. But that's all right. It's the same idea. A voicemail box for you to call in and leave me a message. I don't know. Maybe you have a question for me or you want some advice. If you really want to do that, or I don't know, maybe there's a story that you want me to tell, or maybe I can rope Dad into telling some stories. The possibilities are really endless with this thing. But just know that by calling in and leaving me a voicemail, you're giving me permission to use that voicemail here on the podcast. So take with that information what you will. I should let you know the link to that is in the description to this video. It's also in the link on the Rollin.Punches Instagram and my personal Instagram as well. And while I'm here, follow us on Instagram, Rollin.Punches. It's _JPunch. That's where all the information and those links to the punchline are. So, okay, I think that's all the exciting announcements. Brad Perez, one of my favorite interviews that I've done so far. I feel like I say that every week, but that just means they keep getting better and better. I was actually cracking up editing this interview that I did with Brad, and I will be the first person to tell you that I love laughing at my own jokes, but hopefully you guys find this as funny as we found ourselves. Brad is awesome. You may know him most recently from running part-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but he has done so much more than that and continues to do so much more than that. We talk all about it in the interview. We also talk a lot about Brad's past and how he got here and how that's shaped his mindset about his career. We even talk a little bit about mental health. Very casually, very comfortably. It was very appreciated, Brad's willingness to be so transparent with me. I do want to say, though, before we get into the interview, that we talk very casually about some pretty heavy topics when it comes to mental health, make a few arguably kind of crude jokes. And I do want to say a little bit of a disclaimer. The way we're talking about mental health is always in an effort to normalize the conversation. Nothing about this is trying to make fun of this experience that I've been through or that Brad's been through. The whole point of this is that we're not alone in these experiences. And by talking about them, it's normalizing the fact that we're not alone. And maybe you needed to hear that we have gone through some similar things. So all that to say, it's never an effort to make fun. It's always in an effort to normalize the topic. I think that's it. Sorry, Mom. The jokes are a little crude, but I gave you a warning. All right. Without further ado, here's DJ Bread. I was looking at your Instagram bio, and I felt like your Instagram bio was the perfect way to put it, because I was like, you have the biggest, most diverse resume of anyone I think I've ever come across.
Thanks, I think.
Of course, you're welcome. That's it's a compliment. I promise.
Okay.
And so I bring up your Instagram bio because it was like driver, roadie, and then it just said, and others or other things or something. Yeah. And it just made me giggle because I was like, truly, there are not enough characters available for you to put everything that you do into one thing.
Yeah, I almost didn't even want to put anything on it, but like before, my bio used to say doer of things.
That's perfect too.
Yeah, but then I was like, oh, whenever I try to sell sponsorship or something, people look at that and they're like, what the hell is that?
It's fair.
And
It's a
I'm
very
like,
kind of
yeah.
Gen Z approach to an
Yeah,
Instagram
and I'm
bio.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm an adult. Maybe I
Yeah.
should like
Huh.
say what I am, I guess.
You're 27, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're just like right on the cusp of adult.
Yeah, pushing
Yeah.
30.
I just turned 30, so watch it. Watch the 30 comments.
Hey,
And yes, that was a threat.
no, I feel like I'm part of it. Like everybody I
Okay.
know is very young, so it's like
Yeah.
you're old, and I'm like,
No,
I
it's
know.
bad. It's really bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
And it's and not to be that person, but it only gets so much worse when you turn 30.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's exciting. No, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is enjoy these next couple of years because you don't feel any different when you turn 30. But all of a sudden, everyone's like, "Oh God, do we still invite him? Like he's 30, you know?"
I guess I don't know. I did hot yoga the other
Oh.
I was in Bowling Green, Kentucky, doing this Corvette thing, and my coworkers who were older than me, they were like, "We should do hot yoga." I was like, "It's nothing better to do, so whatever."
Yeah.
I've never done it.
Yeah, Bowling
What?
Green known for their hot yoga. So
Yeah, for sure. And I was
definitely
like,
check it
I'm
out while you're
kinda
there. Yeah,
Nervous
absolutely.
to be here, you know.
No, it's fine.
So I was like, "Am I gonna get cooked in here?" Like,
Yeah, no.
I don't know. So I went and I was doing these little stretches that the yoga instructor told me to do, and I was like, she was like, "Oh, you got to do this thing where like you put both your legs, to the back, like this kind of, and then lean back." And I was like,
Oh yeah.
"Oh, I've done that. Like when I played baseball, yeah, I could do that. I did that. Almost died.
Oh yeah. You can no longer
Yeah,
do
I'm
that.
like,
And then you start counting. You're like, how many years has it been since I've actually really
yeah, it was like
played a sport?
10.
Yeah. Oof.
I was like, yeah, I'm old. That's official. I'm
It's
old.
tough. Just start stretching. That's my advice.
Ugh.
That's just start stretching.
Yeah,
That's
just
terrible advice.
pain on
Sorry.
purpose. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, but like I can absolutely relate to the feeling of feeling younger than everybody gives you credit for or whatever
Yeah.
because I don't know. And we look at our parents, we're like they were like 24 and had kids and had a
Yeah.
life together, had a house. I'm like, "Oh, cute." Couldn't be me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me like a while.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. That's okay. No rush.
Yeah. My kid is like my imaginary race car in my head that I don't own. That I drive occasionally.
You're like, I think I'll get the race car first, and
Yeah.
then worry about the seconds. Yeah, worry about the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
More like a vacation. It's like every time I think about going on vacation, I'm like, that's like,
wouldn't that be nice?
yeah.
Yeah. Again, couldn't be me.
I mean,
Yeah, don't know what that's like. Well, you just went on vacation to Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Yeah.
What were you doing there besides hot yoga?
Yeah, I was teaching dudes in jorts and New Balances how to not crash their Z06.
Okay,
Yeah. it was
is that the
fun.
title of the driving school? Dudes in shorts and New Balances, come learn how to not crash.
No, but I'm gonna like give Lou Creative Harris. I'm gonna give him credit because he came
yeah,
up with that. And
I
was
like that.
I can't. Every time they walked up to me, it's like, "How's it going? I'm Brad Perez. Nice to meet you." He goes, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Yeah, he totally wears shorts and New Balance." Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Yeah, it was Corvette Academy, and
That's really cool.
yeah, it's cool. Like I get to drive a bunch of cars that I probably will never own, and that's fine.
I mean, very few people get to own those cars.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And even if I was rich, I probably wouldn't own those cars.
yeah.
But-
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I don't really care about cars.
It's okay. You
Yeah.
don't have to care about cars.
Thank you.
That's totally fine.
Thank you. You
Yeah.
know what? That's very validating to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You feel like you have to being in this
Yeah.
sport. Yeah.
Like I talk to people, or especially at work. Like I go to work and they're like, "Yeah, man, what car do you drive?" I'm like, "A Jetta."
Yeah.
Like-
I mean, hey, it gets
And
me
then
here.
like the look on their face looks like they just heard I died or something. They're like, "Oh, Jetta."
And why? Like, why? Like, it's such an ego thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, do I have to own a fast car? Like,
Right. No, it's not like you can't drive it fast anyways.
Exactly.
Mhm, I
Yeah.
get it.
Like I get my fix doing whatever crackheaded
Mhm.
stuff I do during the
I have
weekend,
plenty
you
of
know?
other ways to feel
Yeah.
adrenaline, to feel alive.
Yeah.
No, it's funny
Yeah.
though. My dad actually, having worked in the sport for so many years, and like obviously he was never really racing at a high level, but only in broadcasting. People would say the same thing to him. He never really cared about cars. My dad was always like safety squirrel, so he only cared about it being
True.
safe, you
Yeah.
know, and for the family, and like efficient on fuel mileage, all this stuff. But people would give him shit, and they'd be like, "You don't have like a fancy car you get to take
Yeah.
out," and
ESPN money. You ain't got no
yeah,
nice
right.
car.
He was like, "No, I send my kids to private school. I don't have a car."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd rather
I
to
was-
see their well-being. You know?
My education, that degree on the wall was my dad's car. Poor
Hey,
guy.
Hey, shout out.
Yeah, shout out
Shout
to
out,
that.
Papa Punch.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
You real as
Dad.
hell for that.
Thank you. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll buy you a car one day. I shouldn't have said that because now I have to buy him a car one day.
Oh.
Whenever
damn.
you're done helping me pay my rent, I'll buy you a car one day, Dad.
Oh.
Just kidding. Back to being 30. No, I'm obviously totally kidding. No,
Back
but
to being
going
30 is crazy.
back to back to what I was saying about being an adult. No, but Corvette Academy. That's what I think is so interesting is that you are not a full-time driver, but you stay so busy. You are at a racetrack more than anybody that I know, it seems like, and not just in NASCAR. You don't just follow the same circus that we all follow. You are a little bit of everywhere. How are you so, well versed in so many different types of motorsports?
I don't think it was like on purpose. Like it was kind of just like a necessity thing. For me, it was just like I worked so many jobs growing up, like just in general. Like my first job was like a bagger at Publix, and then as soon as I was able to like legally work in the state of Florida and not do a bagger at Publix, I was like, no, I worked at a yogurt shop.
Yum.
Yeah, it was called Orange Leaf. Dude, that place was
Ooh.
sick.
Was
The-
it one of those where you go through and you like put the toppings on?
Yeah, and then you weigh it, and then that's like your thing.
Yeah. Did you get free yogurt?
I did, but I was like,
Worth it.
classic me. I was like, I'm tired of this now. Like, I had a couple, and I was like,
Eh.
like it was
That's
right next to the
fine.
beach too. So I was like, I see all these people going to the beach, and I'm just like, oh, it would be so nice to have this frozen yogurt like next to the water and
Yeah.
not inside of a 65-degree like building.
Frozen
I'm wearing a
yogurt
hoodie
shop.
right now. Like,
Yeah, and you're just weighing yogurt over and
yeah,
over again.
and it's like
Yeah.
95 outside. People are walking in like half naked, and I'm like, I wish that was me.
Yeah.
Like, so
Dang.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you there.
No.
I had to know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to go on a tangent too.
No,
had
I
to
appreciate it.
reminisce.
Well,
Yeah.
while we're on the tangent, quickly, I worked for 2 weeks as a hostess when I was in college, and like 2 weeks is probably even a stretch if I'm being honest. At the local Asian restaurant, and it was like Asian fusion, like it was just everything. So very Americanized, and but I got a discount while I worked there, and I mean for
Not
that
even free food.
strong. Definitely not. No. But honestly, I don't blame them. For
No.
that strong 2 weeks that I put in, like I probably ate them more than like what they paid me, That's okay.
Yeah. Take it.
Anyways,
I'd
I'm
take it.
glad I was able to share that with you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying, you had a lot of different jobs, and I think this is interesting to hear too because you really didn't even get into racing until you were how old?
Well, so I started when I was 8, and then like it
Oh,
ended
okay.
when I was 9. Like, it ended.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, like
Got
ended.
it. Is it like too soon to ask like
No,
why
you
or
totally can.
oh okay.
Like I got over it.
Oh,
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
why?
I was like so mad at my dad. You have no idea. So here I am being like a whole 8 years old, right? And I'm like everyone races. Like
Yeah.
actually, around me nobody raced, but like I go to the racetrack, because I really want to go, and I'm like, oh my god, I could be like that kid. I'm better
Yeah.
than that kid. Like, my dad's like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like I'm gonna like put you in a test in a go kart. I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. I could be like the best. And I went in and like I did really good, and then I crashed, and we never went to the go kart track again.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was so mad. I was beyond pissed. I was like,
Oh, that's
my dad
tough.
kept leading me on too. He was like, we're totally gonna go back. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back. Yeah. And I'm like, Dad, when are we gonna go back?
Never went back.
Never went back. And part of it was like, is my mom scared that I'm gonna get hurt? Like,
That's fair.
They wouldn't tell me that.
Mm-hmm.
And then my parents lost their job, and then Hurricane Katrina hit, and then Wilma hit, and then it was like our roof is like kind of messed up.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh,
Racing's very expensive.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm Dominican, so we're playing baseball. So
And I knew you're a big baseball guy, so that
I do
makes
love
sense
baseball.
then. Okay.
yeah. But I didn't love
Cool.
baseball as much as I love racing. So
Okay.
But yeah, it kind of became that, and then I kind of just like live with the fact that I'm not going to race, but I was a big fan in the time being.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just kept begging to go to the racetrack. I would go to the races at Homestead and stuff, and it was cool. And then when I turned like 17, I kind of was just like, I'm like good at baseball, but I'm not like great at baseball. Like
Yeah.
I'm playing against people that like right now are in the majors,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I am not 6'3".
Everybody reaches that point in sports where
Yeah.
you're like, okay, look, I'm either gonna go do this and try to really do this, or I need to move on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like sim racing a lot at the time. Like,
Okay.
I'd go home every day and I'd like play on NASCAR Racing 2003 and stuff like that. And I met people and they were like, you could like wrench. Like, you could just like figure that out. And I was like, I might. And I begged my dad. I was like, look, let's just get a cheap race car. Like Miata or something, because we had
Mhm.
like local road racing near us, and it was like a $9,000 car, and I was like, it's either get a car or get a race car.
Okay. And we
And my
pick a
dumb
race
ass
car.
got the race car. It worked though. It worked. At the time, I was like, damn, I'm stupid. I'm gonna have no social life. This is gonna suck.
Nah, your
None of
whole
my friends
social
have
life
no
became
idea.
that race car.
Kind of, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was still like a degenerate, and I'd like, would go out with my friends and stuff, and
And how old were you when this decision was
17.
made? 17.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's interesting because you grew up in Florida, and like you said, you grew up in racing, but not a lot of other people around you were doing this. So to be 17 years old and just kind of take a stab in this racing world when, as we know, there's kids who are 7 and in the race car right now. I mean, how did you, one, I mean, this sounds a little wild, but like just the confidence to do that? Like, where did you find the information, the confidence to just step out and try that?
It was like blind faith.
Okay.
Because
I like
honestly,
that.
I thought I was behind everyone. Like, you
Mhm.
start something like if you play the piano, like when you're 7, and compared to like if you started when you were 20, you're like, I am never going to be as good as this kid. And I
Right.
was like, I'm like, okay, like, so what if I'm not as good as this kid? Like, this is just what I wanted to do, be happy. Like, I was like, I mean, I still struggle with mental health in general, but like,
Mhm.
it's better now because I can like compartmentalize my thoughts. But like
Mhm.
at the time, I was like, I want to die. Like, this sucks. Like,
Yeah, I want to do anything and everything. I have
yeah,
no real like
yeah,
lease on life and
exactly.
where I'm going.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if I fail, who cares? Like, I just want to do something fun, like to
Yeah.
like give me like purpose to do something.
Mhm.
So I was like, if I suck at racing, like, so what? At least I get to do it, Or if I'm
Mhm.
like not going to be as good as this person, like, so what?
Mhm.
And that's kind of what's got me to this point. Because even still, like, what I do now, damn, like, I mean, I race against people who I know they are better than me. Like, I'm not even gonna like hide it. But like to get at this point, like, I'm pretty good. So
Yeah.
like, so I'm not gonna like hang myself over that.
Yeah. I mean that well, and that's the thing is for you to take a stab at it and then you don't just find success immediately. Very few people do.
Yeah.
But to be able to have the little bit of time that you do have in the car and to find the success that you have been able to find in such a short amount of time is really, really impressive.
No, thank you.
So the first time you really raced, when you bought this race car with your dad, you were 17. So that was 10 years ago.
Shit, yeah.
In 10 years' time,
Yeah.
let's like look at your resume real quick because I was doing this. If I can talk through. So you've made an ARCA start,
Yes.
a truck start, an Xfinity start, multiple of each
Yeah,
of
yeah.
those. Yeah, multiple starts or at least qualified. And then you've run Legends cars, some
Yeah.
sports cars.
Yeah.
You've done some crew. You were a crew chief for an ARCA race, which we can talk about that.
Oh my
I think that's funny. But I love that that's just thrown in
Oh,
there.
God.
A couple of years ago, a spotter,
Yeah.
crew member, tire specialist.
Yeah.
That's insane. And you were just like, so I started as a bag boy,
Yeah.
but that's crazy to think about in
Yeah.
10 years' time. I mean,
Yeah.
how many people you've met and how much you've been able to accomplish.
Thank you.
What was your first job though? Was it with JD
Yeah.
technically? All right, and you worked your way up kind of through them?
Yeah. It was really weird. So I got a job with them midway through the summer because I was like, I need to work through the first part of the year because at the time I was a valet at Margaritaville.
Love that.
I know. Shout out Margaritaville.
Shout out
Jimmy Buffett.
RIP, man. Yeah, paved
Yeah.
the way. Shout out to I'm also getting to drive a lot of cars that you probably never thought you would drive.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's how I
there
met
you go.
Pitbull. He has no idea, but I met Pitbull. Yeah,
You never know. You might remember.
dude. I hope he does.
You never know. You might be like, I like you.
Yeah, white
Yeah.
Bentley Continental with white seats. That was Pitbull, dude.
That's insane.
Sick, dude. He used to tip me like I put it in front for him. Like, dude, he was so cool.
Did he have like the radio on? Like, was he listening to anything good?
No,
No?
no.
Oh.
He also never had his phone connected to his car, which I found like very weird.
That's very weird.
And he also drove himself. Shout out to him driving himself. I thought he would have a chauffeur.
That's super weird too.
Yeah.
Honestly though, like Pitbull's kind of a weird guy. Like I
Yeah.
know him. I literally have never met the man, but like he gives, you know, he's
Yeah.
quirky.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
kind of quirky, yeah. Yeah, so doing valet at Margaritaville, the spring break time was like the big money time. Like I used to come home with like $400 a day.
Wow.
Like it was big. Like tips, like we split tips too, so that's how much traffic we were getting.
Holy cow.
Yeah, because it's on the beach too, so people
That
just
makes
didn't.
sense.
They're like, I don't feel like parking. Here you go. Like
Mhm.
I was like, thanks.
And they come like ready to spend money, so they just
Yeah.
are just let it fly. Yeah.
Like wintertime sucks. Like the snowbirds. Sorry, Canadian people. They just don't tip. Like they don't.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. I mean, it's a culture thing, but whatever. But yeah, during the spring break time,
Make up for
I
that.
was like, I was bankrolling. I was like, because I was living at home with my parents, so it was like they let me live at home as long as I was going to college, which I did for like until I left. I was like, I hate college, and then working. So did
Yeah.
both of those, made a good amount of money, and I got out of there. And then I think August was like the first race I worked. It was like Iowa, and it was so hot. It sucked.
And
But
what were you doing? You were on the crew?
oh yeah, I forgot. I should have answered your question. I didn't answer your question.
Oh, it's okay. I
Yeah.
don't even quite remember what the question was. I was just really enthralled in your story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dang,
And
I forgot
Pitbull.
to. Yeah. Shout out Pitbull.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was kind of like assistant mechanic, kind of like working underneath the car chief, but then also like doing tires. So it's kind of like a bit of both.
Okay.
Because it was really just 3 people working. Like it was 3 of us.
How did you know so much about the mechanics of a race car? If you really, I mean, I know you had a car and you worked on it yourself, but like, where did you learn all of that?
Part of it was just working on the car that I raced helped me understand what things do to what. But then also when I raced in NR 2003 online, like for our little league that we used to do, me and another guy, we used to like make the setups.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about that either by A, watching races on TV, and then like B, like going in there and like figuring out how to make the thing go faster. So then like when I went in real life, like I knew setup related, but I didn't know like the mechanics of it. And
Yeah.
I guess like once you kind of learn in like dummy terms, like for me, I'm like, okay, like engine work because gas plus air plus spark equals boom. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Make car go. Yeah.
like, you know, like suspension is just like car needs thing to drive on. So it needs thing to make sure it don't go boom on ground. So that's a spring. And then the shock helps the thing, you know, like little things like that. If I'd like think about it like that, it works.
Yeah.
And then I just slowly started to figure out, I'm not like an expert. Like I can't tell you, like, I don't know how to plumb an engine. Like I can't do that. But like, if you were like, hey, put a camber shim in, or like know how to do it, like you do it enough times like at the shop and you're like, okay, I know how to do it.
Yeah. First of all, one, you should absolutely have like an Instagram Reels show or something where you teach people about racing, but using those terms, like you should start. Yeah. And it's just like a 30 seconds of like, let me teach you about suspension. Car needs thing to sit on, like, and just like, yeah. And you're like, suspension.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
sway bar, because car go this and then that, but then it can't do that and then do that. So you just put the bar so it goes that, you know?
that. Honestly, yeah, makes sense to me. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
No, that's cool though. I was actually wondering if you would say that, because you're not the first person that grew up, kind of in the time that we grew up,
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
in that same
Us
same
30-year-olds.
age, yeah. But no, like people that have learned a lot about race cars through setups on different racing games.
Yeah.
It's really cool to think about how much, people are able to learn.
Yeah. And I think it makes it super accessible. I think accessibility is like the one thing that I think I would like to help change if I were to get in like a higher position in this sport. Like, in general, I think if you can make racing more digestible, accessible, and not so much of like the boys club kind of thing.
Yeah.
That I feel like when I entered it, it felt like a boys club kind of thing, and I feel like it's even like that, even worse before. Where I think it'll get more people who are just like had no idea, or just what you would never see at a racetrack, be more interested in doing stuff, and then like also be well versed at it. Because then they'll show up and be like, I definitely have an idea of this. I may have not done it, but like I understand the concept.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can only be better as a sport if we open our sport up to more people. And like you said, if the only people that can come into racing and know about race cars were able to have or own or work on a car when they were a kid, then like we're very limited here in how we're going to be able to grow. So
Exactly.
there's so many knowledgeable people out there that just don't have the opportunity to have that experience, but now can through things like iRacing. I say the same thing to people that ask me about like broadcasting. I'm like, we live in 2024. It's so cool how you're able to get on and even at the easiest, like make TikToks about racing, show people that you can talk on camera, that you know what you're talking about. But at the most involved, like commentate an iRacing league. Like you could literally get on weekly and show people that you can commentate a race. Like the possibilities are endless today, and it's really exciting to see more people come up through more unconventional avenues. And I agree with you, it opens it up to a more broad spectrum of characters within the sport, which we need big time.
Yes, totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I love that stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
love it. Like there are not many things that I am like very 100% passionate about, and that is one of them. Like it
Yeah.
is, like I just want more people to figure out what they enjoy. I think
Mm-hmm.
that like helps like with your general happiness of life. Like if you find something that you would have never thought that you enjoyed and you found it, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, you can just talk about it all day.
And something that I notice about you and admire is this kind of ability to find joy in whatever role that you're given. You know, you have a goal and you have an ideal place you want to be in mind, but if you're not always able to be there, you're doing something else and you're able to, from what it seems like at least, from my perspective, I guess this should be more of a question, but find the joy in where you're at, you know,
Yeah.
still work for that higher goal, but love the process and love the journey and appreciate all the opportunities that still come your way. But that is that the case?
Yeah, I guess in like a super masochistic way. Like I hate this, but I love it at the same time. Like
Yeah.
I guess you hear that a lot at the racetrack. You go to the racetrack and then people are like, "How's it going?" I'm like, living the dream.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm not gonna be like a hypocrite. Like I say that as well.
Yeah, we
But
all say
like,
that.
but at the end of the day, like I have a choice to not be here.
Sure.
Like I think at least I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for everybody else. But like I know that if I didn't want to do this, like I can go on a road with a band and do merch and have
Mm-hmm.
fun and just see a bunch of places I've never seen before
Mm-hmm.
and then make like terrible money, but like I'll do it and it's fun and I can like live off of that and then like do my driving instruction thing and never show up to a NASCAR track ever again.
Yeah, and you'll be happy.
Yeah, that'd be fine. And or I can, go back to valeting and making whatever $400, $500 and then don't do it all the time and then, do some other stuff. I don't know, go on vacation. Live a life. Um
Go on vacation.
yeah, but I decided to do it because like I want to be the best race car driver I can be because that is my number one 100% goal. Like that's what I want to do. It's really all I care to do. So like being a crew guy and like working with different crew chiefs and learning from them what is it to make a car go fast or like what mistake happened here that the reason why we broke or what should I have if we could go back in time and replace this part? Why should we replace this part? Like
Mm-hmm.
doing that, it sucks. Like going through tech and having to take apart a truck and then put it back together because it's really
Yeah.
annoying and I hate it.
Mm-hmm. For
But like,
someone else to drive,
yeah,
knowing that that's what you would like to
yeah,
do. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like hot as hell outside, and I'm suffering, and I'm also not getting paid very good.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I can understand, like this is something that will make me better, and I want to be better. And at the moment that I don't care anymore or don't want to be a better race car driver, like I still might do it occasionally, but
Yeah.
like then I'm like not gonna bite it as much as I do. But in that sense, that's why I enjoy it because it is me trying to accomplish a goal,
Yeah.
even though it's not direct. I
That
guess.
makes total sense. It's two things. It's one, it's looking at every opportunity as a learning opportunity towards getting you to the greater goal that you want to be at. It's not like, oh, I'm here because I'm not there. It's like I'm here because there's something I can still learn from being here to
Exactly.
get me there. And then it's also knowing, as you just said, that there's other stuff out there that makes you happy. At the end of the day, your happiness doesn't depend on what happens at the racetrack.
Oh
It
hell
sucks in the moment, but you're gonna go home and it's not gonna dictate your emotions overall.
yeah.
And that's very admirable. I can't say that for myself most of the time. Truly, it's very admirable to be
Yeah.
able to kind of have that. I don't even know if that's considered work-life balance or if that's really just considered kind of life balance, but that's nice.
Yeah.
Like it is very admirable that you're
Yeah.
able to do that.
Thank you. I think it's just a matter of just like not taking shit too personal.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, I'm getting chewed out by this person. It's not like they hate me. It's just this is a pain in the ass right now and you're just going to have to deal with it. I think it's
Yeah.
like I've learned to realize that like work is still work and like whether or not you're enjoying it, suffering, whatever, like you're going to leave that situation in whatever 2 or 3 hours and your life is not going to change because of whatever you just did here. So
Yeah.
don't like get too wound up over it. Like I'm very much my friends will definitely say this. Like I am the most unserious person they've ever met because I just don't care.
That's so great though.
I care, but I don't. But I don't.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, you care. And that's evident in the relationships that you have with people and the great things that people would say about you. You obviously care. But your ability to not care and just let things kind of like roll off your shoulder is really, really, really great. It's a great thing to be able to do, especially in this sport.
Thanks. My therapist says like something similar.
But you should pay your therapist extra. She's doing a really good job.
She does snap.
Yeah, she does a great job. Now that you bring it up, how long have you been in therapy?
So I've been on and off for a while. I've been consecutive for 2 years. but I was on and off because I don't know. I just felt like I had bad therapists. I don't know if it was either just me not being honest with myself, which is part of it,
That's very fair.
and then the next one is like just meeting somebody who I felt like was like not. They were kind of not seeing
Yeah.
at me or through me. They were kind of like tell me, yo, like
Yeah. They just want the answers, and you don't
yeah,
really know what to tell them.
like
Yeah.
hell, I had a therapist one time that he was also like an injury lawyer, and like
Excuse me.
yeah, and I was like, am I just like a piece of meat to you? Like
Yeah,
I
that
feel
feels
like
like a very weird
yeah,
combination
I feel like I'm just
of
giving you
degrees.
more information for you to use against someone else.
I mean, if I always say like finding a therapist is like dating. You kind
Literally,
of have to, yeah.
you have to weed them out. It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Sometimes it's them, sometimes it's you, sometimes it
mhm,
just doesn't click. Yeah,
yeah.
and that's okay. No, I mean, you brought up having dealt with just mental health and mental health struggles in the past, so I was curious if therapy was something that was new or if that was something that you kind of embarked on,
No,
a while ago.
dude, I had been in therapy since I was like 11.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and like I've had a long history with it, and like I will tell anyone like just do it, like even
Yeah.
if it sucks, like you might not even find the right one, like you said, like you just got to weed them out, and you just have to stick with it as much as it's like nothing here makes sense, or I feel like I'm wasting my time, or I feel like I'm talking to my friend, except a
Mm-hmm.
friend that isn't really my friend, like
Right. And I'm just supposed to
yeah,
tell you all these personal things about myself
yeah,
and trust that this is
yeah,
gonna help.
and
But
then you're just gonna sit there and just be like,
yeah,
like what
yeah.
is this doing for me?
Well, how is this gonna help
Yeah,
me? Yeah, but it is great advice though. Like you just have to start. Like that's what I say the same thing to people. When they're like going through that kind of struggling time, where like I don't know if this is really doing anything, or I don't know.
yeah.
I'm like, but you've already done one of the hardest parts, and that's like starting.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You
So
just gotta
just
trust
stick
the
with it.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trust in the process. I appreciate you being honest in that, though. I just think that's very interesting. Mental health is something that I'm very passionate about, so I'm always curious, And I just think that it's important to have more casual, open conversation about things like therapy, so that more people will feel comfortable talking about it if they want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think it can easily get really corny. Like,
For sure.
I think people are uncomfortable to come out and say things because of the backlash, whether or not it be like, you know, oh, hey, I don't want to be like the type of person I'm totally rambling, but I don't want to be the type of person that's like, I'm sad and I'm so sad and I want people to feel bad for me. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't. Like, I really don't want people to like
I
talk to
don't
me
want to hear
about it
from you.
at all,
Yeah.
actually. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to come up to me and be like, "Hey, I heard you're feeling something. Like, you want to talk about it?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay,
I
we're at
saw your
work."
tweet, and you seem sad,
Yeah.
and yeah.
And like, I know your heart's in the right place, and
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not gonna knock you for that, and I don't want to say it to make it feel like I don't want you to feel bad about it,
Right.
but you don't have to tell me about it. Like, I'm being open about it, so you know that you can with yourself.
Yeah, this is not about you.
Yeah.
This is about me.
Yeah.
And me.
And
and
you
my
don't have to make it
things.
about me. You make it
Uh-huh.
about you.
Yes.
That's the point.
Yeah, and I would actually prefer if you didn't make it about me.
Precisely.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why I don't want to say
Yes.
anything.
Yep.
'Cause I don't want you to make it about me.
Yes. But then if we can't ever say anything, how are we ever going to be able to do this?
Exactly.
Mhm.
How to have a dialogue without it being a dialogue.
Yes.
Not
Mhm.
yourself.
Yep.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And what you started with in saying that when you were like, there's a lot of corny ways to kind of go about that. I agree with that too. There's a lot of, feel all your emotions and,
Yeah.
but like that's,
Yeah.
that's tough. You got to weed through that.
Yeah. And I guess it's something that is emotionally complicated. So I feel like people who do not experience that themselves, it's very hard to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes off the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like how I know people that are very close to me, like family members, who've heard me talk about it, and then they're like, "Oh my God, like, are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's fine because I'm talking about it. Trust me, it's fine." Like,
Right.
yeah, like because they've never felt that before. Or
Right.
They don't know how to approach that, and it's
How
fine.
to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot. I think one of the emotions that's the easiest to really display that is something like grief. Because like for me, I mean, when we're just talking about like mental health, whatever, I've struggled with, like depression and then anxiety a lot, but like grief more recently is something that I have dealt with, and that is I've really noticed both in myself and in other people where like that is something that you truly cannot understand how to be there for somebody until you experience it yourself. Because I say that in the sense of like there are people that I see the way they've responded, and I'm like, just like you said, I'm like, I can't fault you because you don't know
Yeah.
how to react in this scenario. So I'm really not, mad. But then I also look at myself and go, wow, I probably was maybe kind of unknowingly an asshole in certain ways because I didn't know how to be there for somebody.
Yeah.
But it's just the same kind of thing. Grief, I think, is just the best way to kind of best example. But yeah, it's finding that line of like talking about it, but also teaching people how to talk about it. I guess.
Yeah. It's complicated, but yeah,
Yeah.
that is actually a really well put scenario in grief because it's like, hell, I've gotten to the point personally where like the only thing I can really tell people is like, I'm sorry, and if you need something, I'm here, and otherwise, I will let you do your thing. And
Yeah.
it's hard to do that, especially like when it's someone who you really love that's grieving, and you don't know what to do. Like,
Right.
hell, and there's a bunch of different ways that you don't know how to help them do their thing and help them experience what they kind of just have to do it on their own, and you have to be like, hey.
Yep. Because sometimes it is just understanding that they don't need you right now. They just need you're always going to be there, but they just need to be with themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kind of like what you were saying. Sometimes, like when it's whatever that you're dealing with, you're like, I need to be able to just express my emotions and then not have everyone blow up my phone and be like, hey man, are you okay?
Exactly.
Yes, I'm fine. Leave me alone.
Yes, and there's nothing bad about that.
Yeah, it's
at
okay. It's okay. Yeah. No, I agree with you there. And again, I appreciate you being open and honest and willing to talk about that kind of thing because, it's not easy.
Yeah, more people should do it when they feel comfortable.
Yeah, when you feel comfortable. Yeah. Not to us though. Don't start blowing us up with your
No,
problems. Yeah,
no.
look, I got enough of my own. I don't need
read it.
yours.
I'll say sorry.
I won't read it.
I'll read it.
Just
I'll say sorry, but don't do that.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding on that. That was a joke. It's like sometimes when I go to therapy, sorry, back on it quickly. Sometimes when I go to therapy and you're like having a bad week and she's asking you questions, I do kind of want to be like, do I tell her it was one of those weeks where I like wanted to run my car off the road, or is like then she gonna like
Just write something,
right, and then I'm gonna get a call and it's gonna be like for legal reasons I had to like tell somebody.
Yeah, for legal reasons I ain't gonna tell you shit anymore.
Yeah, right. I trusted you, snitch.
Yeah, for real. You know I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah. You know I'm not.
Yeah, for real. If I really was gonna do it,
I mean,
I probably wouldn't tell you.
Yeah, right. That's when you should worry, bitch.
If you ever hear me for like 3 weeks, then you know.
She's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm fine. She's like, oh God. Okay, so back to a more joyous situation. I do want to ask about the ARCA crew chiefing scenario, solely because of the way that you responded when I brought it up. That sounded like it was something that wasn't ever in the cards for you. How did that come to play?
Okay, so Willie and Dinah Mullins.
Yes.
Right. So I love them to death.
Yes.
Like, those
very
are
nice
like
people.
that's like my uncle and auntie. Like they're like family. And we were going to Talladega, and we had this car that Willie had put together. I helped him kind of work on it with his buddy Daryl in their house. Crazy. And we went to Talladega, and we were like, man, I think we have a shot like to like do really well. It's a really good speedway car. And I was like Willie, like this thing's pretty damn good. Like I feel like we could probably do really well. So we show up to the racetrack, and it was like I was driving to the racetrack, and like the entry list popped up, and I originally had sent them a crew chief to work for them because their old crew chief, something happened. I'm not gonna get into his drama. And I was like, they're like, we need a crew chief. Do you know anybody that's good? I'm like, I got somebody. Like, I'm gonna bring him. His name is Austin. Great guy. And me and him had worked together really well. So the entry list pops up, and he goes, hey, Brad, look at your phone. I was like, what? So I look at my phone, and it's like, Willie Mullins, crew chief, Brad Perez. I'm like...
You're like, wait, me, Brad Perez?
Are you sure?
This one?
I called Dinah immediately. I'm Dinah. Did you, like, type it wrong? Like...
What's this?
She goes, you like it, don't you? And I was like... her little Minnesota accent. She's like, you like it, don't you? And I was like... I guess? Like, does this mean I had to get paid more? Like, she was like, oh no, we thought it'd just be funny. Like, I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm gonna work still, but like, all right. So, Austin was giving me crap, and he was like, oh, you're putting this thing through tech, not me. I was like, okay. So I'm like, as soon as we go to every station, like I knew just about all the ARCA officials. I know all the Ilmore people, and I get to the first one, and the Ilmore people go, all right, who's the crew chief? And then the other guy goes, he is. I was like,
Yeah, me.
me,
Crew
yeah.
Chief Brad
And
Perez
I was like,
here.
here you go, and like I'm putting the plate on, like, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Like,
That's
and
awesome.
the funniest part about that though was like we do practice or whatever, and I'm on the radio. Like usually I'm on the radio with Willie, but like
Mhm.
even Austin was like, no, you're taking it. I'm like, okay, whatever. So we do our thing, and Willie goes top of the board in practice.
And you're like, oh no, I've just got
Oh,
myself a new job.
God, no, because then that means there's gonna be like a write up about it, and like I'm like I really didn't do anything. Like I really didn't do anything. Like if anything, Willie's the damn crew chief. And now there's like a thing like Willie Mullins goes top of the board, crew chief Brad Perez. No, 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 no. I'm like, oh my God. And yeah, it was a fun weekend. Like we had fun. Like it was great. Like I was even on the box for the race. And then Austin, I was like, Austin, you get on the damn box. I'm not doing this.
You're like, I can't actually do
yeah,
this.
I'm
Yeah, the
like,
jig is up.
yeah, I could, but like
Yeah.
you're hired for this. Like I'm not doing this.
That's so fun though. Just to
Yeah.
be able to like say that you did it,
Yeah.
and you did. I mean, you actually did. Like
Yeah.
it was a joke, but you
Yeah.
were like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do what I can and
Yeah.
run this thing through tech. And yeah,
I feel good about it. I was like,
that's
okay.
cool.
That made me confident for another gig that happened this year at a track that I will not name for a team that I will not name, where I ended up might be doing a similar role that I'm not going to talk about.
Oh, this is a might be thing
This is
in the future.
This is a thing that happened,
Oh.
but I'm not going to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
For,
Got it.
I'll wait like another
legal
10 years,
reasons.
and I'll say it.
Oh,
for legal
okay,
reasons,
cool.
yeah.
Can we get on the calendar for like when you are able to talk about it?
If you can remember it,
I want the exclusive.
I'm gonna I'm putting you on blast for not
reach out.
remembering. I can't
Okay.
remember either, so
Okay, I'll reach out.
it takes two to not remember.
That's fair. That's very fair. And I will be the first to not remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will.
No,
That's
I will.
me. Oh, bet.
I won't remember anything.
All right. I won't remember better than you won't remember.
Yeah, whatever.
That's
I
fine.
forgot we were talking about.
I have no idea. Where are we?
Oklahoma.
Couldn't tell you. Bowling Greens, Kentucky, or whatever that
Yeah,
was.
and
Like,
you're a hostess
yeah,
at the Bowling Green
at the Bowling Green.
Japanese restaurant.
Yep. Sounds good to me. Yep. I'm just here for the discount. I'm like, seat yourself. Literally just here because I get 20% off my lunch.
Dude, yeah.
Anywho,
Leave the keys in the car.
okay, well, you know that you can't leave. You know that you can't do any more crew chiefing now because you had such a strong start that's are
We
you
can keep it like that.
gonna end on a you got, you know what I mean, like like you were like, oh, one and done, successful crew chief career,
Correct.
we're done. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
Correct.
that's his way of saying please do not hire me to crew chief your race car. I really don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it.
You mentioning that you had the same crew chief when you ran with Patrick Emmerling or Emmerling Gase Racing, and that was technically your first Xfinity race, right?
Yeah, it was a different crew chief, the other one.
Oh,
yeah,
got it.
was-
Okay, but
yeah,
okay, I'm following you. So,
it's
but
okay. It's just
different crew chief, same team,
Yeah.
different race that you ran.
Yeah.
I'm following. Okay, but that race that you ran for Emmerling Gase, because I know you had tried an Xfinity start, didn't
At
qualify.
Indy, yeah, DNQ'd it.
So, talk to me about that.
Oh, dude.
I have to imagine that was very disappointing.
Oh my God. So I'm gonna say a thing about DNQing. So
Okay, please do.
I'm not the most experienced at DNQing. Like you can talk to like Landon Castle or Timmy Hill. They've experienced it way more than I've experienced it. It's not even knocking
I was
them.
about to say, was that like subtle shade?
No, it's like they've been around that long and they've toughed it out in the absolute worst
Yeah,
equipment, and they've
yeah.
been like,
It's
I'm
part of the
fine.
job.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
But that deal had come up so late, and I'd gotten a tip to run that car, and I bet on myself. Like every time you end up doing those like really cheap deals or like for underfunded teams, it was Carl Long's team. Shout out Carl Long, I love him. Like he still calls me, and like he easily could just be like, screw this guy. But like he's so nice.
Still a good relationship.
Very nice
but
guy.
you know what you're working with there as far as equipment
and he
goes,
knew too.
yeah.
We all knew.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I bet on myself, and I was like, look, you know what? Might not even be my best track, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot because it's Indy, and I'm like, whatever. And the sponsor, Apex Coffee Roasters, like it's the first primary they ever did, and they had been with me on a truck or whatever. But like, it was cool because it's Indy. They're road course people. Like their colors, their logo and colors are like the Gulf livery, so it's like they're very well sports car oriented. So
Gotcha.
Indy's a big deal. They even got like a write up in the Waco Times. Yeah.
Oh, it was a big
Oh
deal.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like I don't. For me, I can like put myself under the dirt. I don't care. You can say whatever you want about me. I can be a failure, whatever. Like I'll do it, whatever. But like letting other people down is like an
Mm-hmm.
absolute traumatic thing. I don't want to do it. I don't ever want to do it. It makes me
Yeah.
want to like cry. I hate it.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. And I missed that race. Scott Heckert's the one that beat me, by the way. Like one of my mentors. Like I love Scott. Love him. Love
You're
him
like,
to
you
death.
couldn't have pulled off the guy.
No, no, I can't even do it because I was like, I
Yeah.
can't even be mad about it because I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
was like, I didn't think I was gonna beat Scott anyways, but
Yeah.
I missed it by like 7/100ths of a second to Scott, and I was like, damn, I was like, man, I almost beat Scott. That's pretty cool, but I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna say? Like, how am I gonna tell the sponsor? Like, my
Mm-hmm.
parents are here. They flew here for this. Like, that take off work to come here. It's like Friday.
Oh,
Yeah, like I have a hotel tonight. I could just go home. Like I'm thinking about all the other things, like not even
yeah.
like the car or whatever.
Yeah.
And I broke down and cried. I cried on pit road. And like I was completely fine until Scott come over there and hugged me
Mm.
and was like, "I'm so proud of you." Like, no, no, no. And I was like, oh, "You're gonna
And
make me
then you
cry,
just
dude."
lost
Like, I'm
it.
gonna
Yeah.
freaking cry. Like Vargas came over there, Will Rogers came over. Myatt had just finished qualifying and he came over there and hugged me.
Mm-hmm.
I was a mess, dude. I was a complete mess. And then to make it even worse, Rami, like I'm a hater on this. Like Rami, um, the world's greatest race fan or whatever, like came over there and like took pictures with me doing his thing where he takes a picture on one side and takes a picture on the other side. Like I'm bawling, like tears down my
Not
eyes.
the time.
Yeah,
Not the time
he
or
took him.
place.
He's like I'm so sorry that you didn't make it, but I'm Rami and I'm no no no. And he's like,
Yeah. I'm so
and he
sorry.
takes the first picture, like, and then he goes, oh no, you know how I do it. I go, I'm like,
Oh no. Mm-mm.
I need a yellow shirt here immediately.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna commit a crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not my brightest moment. That was like the worst. And
That's so tough though.
yeah, but I mean, think about it. That's like that happened to me once. Thank God. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
never DNQ'd after that
Mm-hmm.
since then. Oh, I actually did. Yeah, I DNQ'd Phoenix with my Carmen, but that was a different thing. But like that was like me putting everything towards this, and like there's others who that's happened to them a lot, and it's been worse scenarios. Like they've had like $50 to $100,000 sponsors, and they've
Yeah.
so like I can't just say like, oh, woe is me, boohoo, but like that's a lot of pressure. Like I still like I lie to myself when I get into situations of a lot of pressure like that, and I'm like, I'm fine. We're in the race.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I like completely lie. And I forget that I'm even about to do. That's like the best part of having
Yeah.
no memory. I'm like, I'm hopping in this car. We're locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in on points. We're fine.
This is just for fun.
Yeah,
This is a fun
like,
lap.
oh, boo. Oh, I messed up.
Yeah.
Oops, we're fine.
Oops. My bad. Hey, whatever you gotta do, however you
Yeah.
have to approach it. I mean, whatever
Yeah,
works.
other
for
people
you.
lock in, I lock out.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not even here right now.
Check in, you're like, nope, I'm gone.
Yeah, dude, this
I
game
am
looks weird,
gone.
dude.
Yeah, NASCAR 2003 looks real
For
different
real,
these days.
man.
Yeah.
Damn, like new graphics card.
Shit.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh. No, that's wild though. But then it makes, like you said, that disappointment, it makes when you come back and you do qualify and you run that race later that year with Emerling Gase. I'm sure
Yeah.
that had to make that just
Oh, yeah.
feel even better.
Oh my god, yeah, and I did it in a worse car. Like I think the car that Carl brought me, like I look back on it and I'm like, damn, that was a way better car than I drove that time. And I made the race in a car in a worse car. It actually it made me realize that I was like, okay, I'm getting better. Like this is actually a very good comparison of I am getting better as a driver, and
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself. And I was like, cool.
And even looking at this year, you've been in the car one time
Yeah,
at Coda
top 20
in top 20 right there.
Yeah, I was so happy. That was awesome.
That's great. And at Coda, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a stacked field.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
yeah, and we had to make the race on speed. That is like. That is another thing that like has changed my mentality as like a person. That going from the like super scaredy cat, like oh my god, I can't make the race, like, and I was like, I'm in a car with 0 points, with a crew chief that like flew in from Pennsylvania, never even saw the car, like, and I'm trusting Tommy Joe, I'm trusting all these people, and like I'm trusting myself, and I'm like, we could do this, and then we qualified pretty good. I was like, yeah, so yeah, bet on yourself,
There you go. Bet on yourself. And it's
even
because
if you fail.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, you have to fail, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to fail to learn, because it's all about how you look at it. You don't have to look at it as failure. You just have to look at it as like another learning opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you've played so many different roles, been in so many different weird scenarios, different scenarios, expected and unexpected. That it just helps you learn and prepare for what's next. I mean, I can think about where were we? Was it Portland when you hopped in for Leland?
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, very few people can say that they've been like pulled last minute to jump in the car and finish an Xfinity race, and
so
you
cool.
have.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Ricky Bobby did it for real.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. That was.
That's really fun.
That was funny. That was so funny.
How long did you? I mean, how early did you know that you were like, hey, we might need you to drive the car?
Oh my God, that morning, because I knew I wasn't driving and I was pit crewing, and I'm like, oh, this is easy. Tech is already done, so I'm like, I'm chilling. Last night I had like 3 drinks. I was feeling good. I woke up that morning, I was like, oh man,
easy
I'm going to the
day,
racetrack, and I'm
chill
like
day.
barely awake because I'm like, I'm still getting acclimated to time. And Tommy Joe calls me, like I'm literally just walking into the garage, and he goes, "Do you have all your stuff?" I'm like,
excuse me?
He's like, "Yeah, you got all your stuff. You need to go and fit the seat in the 43 because Leland is sick." And I was like, "What? Like, when are we gonna tell Joey? Like, I'm his front changer today, dude."
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And
that's insane.
That is exactly how it happened.
And then midway through the race, Leland was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
They threw you in.
Yeah. And
do you always have your stuff on you?
Oh hell yeah.
Smart.
That's like #1 rule of race carring. Like,
yeah, okay.
Your stuff must be on you at all times.
Cool.
I don't care if I'm at like a lawnmower racetrack.
Yeah.
Like, my stuff will be there.
Smart.
Yeah.
That seems to be the case. I've heard that before. Yeah.
Oh,
They're like, I always have my stuff in the car.
Never know.
Yep, never know. That could be your big break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, it helped me. Like, this year I was starting park for Andy Hillenberg at like Phoenix, and like the hauler had to leave like 3 weeks ago. And I was like, I'm just gonna put myself on the hauler no matter what. I was already there. I was like, oh.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah.
And it worked. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Before I let you go, I do a segment with everybody. It's called Long Story Short, because I'm the queen of saying long story short and then giving you the like extended, 2-disc version of whatever the story was. Yeah. So, 3 questions for you. Feel free to make these answers as long or as short as you would like to make them. Okay. Question number 1. When was the last time that you cried?
Oh, you have to make me remember. That's crazy.
Well, you already mentioned, I know, crying when you didn't make the race, but that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
so if you haven't cried in 2 years, I'm going to be really impressed.
I've cried recently for sure.
Okay.
I cried in March.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of embarrassing to talk about.
Oh, you don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
But you're more than welcome to share.
Yeah. It was it was just a sad circumstance.
Sad circumstance. Okay. Just sad boy March.
Yeah, very sad boy moment.
Sad boy March. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, there we go. That was a short story. I like that.
Thanks.
Second question. When was the last time that you remember doing something that you just felt an immense amount of pride in yourself?
When I sold my first really cool sponsorship. Like, so when I got to sell Sendero, shout out Sendero. Mm-hmm. That was a slow burn. Like, that took an entire year to put that together.
Because they were on the car at Coda, right? This year. Okay. Yeah.
And like, putting that together was a brand that I really like, and it was a brand that I was super passionate about, and I got the introduction, and it was a lot of work. We put a lot of content together that still, some of it isn't even out how long we were putting it together. So putting that together, I felt so proud of myself because I was like, I did it with no management, no middleman. Like, it was me and them. And shout out to Apex Coffee Roasters. He's the guy who put me in touch with them.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But yeah,
and then you took it from there.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Happy about that.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of admin paperwork that goes into making that deal.
Especially a brand that big. Like, other people, it's like, word of mouth. Hey, here you go. Wire the money. Like, whatever. Yeah. But it was a lot had to be done. A lot of approvals. A lot of, man, it was.
That's awesome. Good for you. Yeah, you should be proud of yourself. That's really neat. Thank you. Okay, final question. What is one piece of media? It can be like a song, a podcast, a video, a movie, show, anything that you would recommend to our listeners.
Oh my God. That's it. See, I was totally on board until you had to say I had to recommend it to somebody.
I know.
So I'm like, I don't know.
You're like, oh God, don't watch what I watch.
I'll be dead. I don't be liking the same stuff I be liking. Piece of media. I think everyone should listen to the album "Welcome to Phantomland" by the band Sink In.
Okay.
I think everybody should listen to it because it is a band that is self-produced. They're self-promoted. They're really great people. It's very rare that you actually beat a band that has actually have good people in it. Usually they're all like weird or pedophiles or something.
Weird artsy people that are just like take themselves too seriously too.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and it's like this is not an album that cares to look like something or cares to be like something. It is just fun music, and it sounds great. And they're like a pop rock band with a little bit of R&B in it.
Cool.
And
What's the name again?
Sink In. So the band is Sink In. The
Sink In.
album is Welcome to Phantomland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Is this the band that you said you would sell merch for?
I have sold merch for them
Okay,
before. Yes.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So shameless plug.
That's
But-
super cool. No, that's
yeah.
great. I mean, the reason I bring that up is because you really can like, we can take that recommendation for something. Like
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
willing to give them your time
Oh,
and
yeah.
your effort, then like, yeah.
Yeah. I damn slept on their damn floor. So,
there you go. These
yeah.
are some good people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
This is a totally rogue question. Are you a DJ?
I am a DJ. Well, I guess I have been paid as a DJ, so I can technically say I'm a DJ. But it's been a while.
Did you do like a middle school dance?
No.
So it's like if you do one middle school dance, can you say you're a DJ kind of thing?
I guess you can,
Yeah.
but that's not what I did.
Oh, what'd you do?
Yeah, so I used to play at Club Space in Miami, like the
Sick.
3 a.m. slot. Like
You say you're not a. You're like, I guess I'm a DJ.
no, but it was a
Played
long
Club
time ago.
Space in Miami.
It was a
Excuse
long,
me.
it was a long time ago. Like
You're 27. How long ago was it?
I was like 20. Like
Oh my gosh.
yeah. Well, I used to. Oh my god, I'm not trying to make this not as winded as it could be, but like I
Please
used to.
do.
I used to make music.
Okay.
And like part of that was like that was my career arc. I was like, I can't be a race car driver. I suck at baseball. I love music. I got into it. I produced for bands. Not
That's
gonna get into
awesome.
it. Yeah, but that's how I met some of like I set my friends on fire people. Like,
Okay.
but DJing was kind of one of those things where it was like I play my music by DJing, but also like nobody listened to my music because it wasn't that good. So I was like, I'm just gonna go to the club and like whoever I knew, the promoter, whatever, I was just DJing there.
Mm-hmm.
And then like that was the best slot I ever got was the 3 a.m. damn Club Space slot. I happened like twice ever.
That's so cool,
But
though.
other than that, I played at like super small shows and like small clubs and shit.
Do you still do it at all anymore?
I have recently actually bought like a DDJ thing, so I can actually do the thing, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm rusty. But I can do it.
You should start doing more events. That'd be so cool.
Another thing
I'm like in
all
all your free time.
yeah, totally.
I'm like, you need another job, Brad. Have you thought about DJing?
I'm like, let me see how my schedule is looking.
Yeah, you're like, great. Yeah, let
speaking
me
of my
look
schedule,
into
that
it.
like my thing just decided
Yeah.
to like do that.
Remind you that you
I didn't
have
even do
shit
that on
to
purpose.
do.
It just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a DJ name? DJ Bread?
So I used to. This is gonna be corny as hell.
It's
But-
okay. All DJ names are.
Yeah, I know. So it was my artist name and DJ name was. So I like this band called Tesseract. Not anymore.
Oh.
I'm not gonna get into that. But I
Okay.
used to really like this album that they had. It was like a series of albums called Concealing Fate, and
Okay.
my name was Concealing Fate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Were you inspired by their music, or what you just liked the?
I like the concept of the
Okay.
concept album.
Cool.
And like the name was in a way it has a meaning, but it was the meaning
Sure.
was like Concealing Fate, meaning that like my fate was to do something greater in my life, and
Yeah.
I was not doing it by being a degenerate.
Spinning the tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
making music.
I like it. You need a DJ name though, if I'm being honest.
I'm just gonna do bread.
It doesn't. I like DJ Bread.
Yeah, and all my visuals are gonna be random pieces of
I
flour.
love that.
like
That's
and just have
honestly-
somebody making a pizza thing back there.
beautiful.
Like,
I
it's
just
like-
think like a loaf of white bread will do things to a person.
I agree.
Yeah,
pull it
like
apart.
just a soft loaf of white bread, like Sara Lee, like nothing fancy.
Oh my God, Sara Lee,
Ugh,
call me, please,
honestly,
please. Whoever's in charge of their
Sarah
marketing,
herself.
please, God.
She's baking every single one
Miss
of those
Lee,
damn
please.
loaves.
Miss Lee, my DMs are open, please. Would you like to be on a race car?
Oh my gosh. Wait, actually though, sponsorship idea, you with a bread company.
Oh my God, I'd go
Brilliant.
so hard.
Brilliant.
I'd cook
Yeah.
heavily.
We'll see. I like what you
No
did
pun
there.
intended.
As always, I will put the links for Brad's recommendations in the description for this interview. I'm also going to throw a couple extra links in the description below this week. Given the topic of conversation, I wanted to introduce y'all to an organization that I have been involved in and supported for over 10 years now. It's called To Write Love on Our Arms. They are an organization that does research and normalizes the topic of mental health, and also helps a lot of people find direction and get them in touch with opportunities to get in therapy and get help for mental health issues. So maybe this interview got you thinking, or maybe some of this discussion got you interested in doing some research on your own. So I'll put the link down below for you to check it out in your own time. Thanks again to Brad for coming in and chatting with me. Mom, thank you for listening. I love you so much. Listeners, thank you for tuning in this week. I love y'all so much. Don't forget to call me on the punchline and leave me a message, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.